Now look at Mossy. Really? Oh, so that's how you're gonna play it. You gonna do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. My man that's joining us has always showed love to No Ketchup from the start. Welcome in the Brody, Mike Bolling. What's going on?
What's up, man?
Let me give you a little more love. Social media producer for Stadium, does on-air social for the Cubs as well. How you living, man?
I'm chilling, man. Baseball's back. I'm happy, man. It's been rough out here the last couple months, and for a while, we talked about maybe not even having a season. So I'm just glad they're playing, man. So we got something to watch.
Absolutely, no doubt. It's the live sports being back is crucial. Like, I've been getting my stuff done during the day, taking care of business, red wine in my hand at about 6 o'clock. That's been the routine from the start, no doubt. Let's jump right into it. Let's talk about week 1 of the Major League Baseball season. Give me your thoughts on the quality, the rule changes. We were just chopping it up before we hopped on about the 7-inning doubleheaders. and if things keep going the way they're going, it's going to be a lot of doubleheaders out here. So that's going to be interesting. Let's talk about that. And I want your thoughts on Manfred. We'll get into it. What's going on?
Yeah, man. I think the quality of baseball is just fine. I thought from the beginning the hitters would be fine. Pitchers, probably not going late in the games unless you're Kyle Hendricks on opening day. But other than that, I think it's been solid, man. I think these guys had a commitment to just getting back to their craft and working hard in that little spring training 2.0, how they called it. And I think everybody was just starving to watch something. So I'm not going to nitpick, are the pitchers going too long? Are they not going long enough? None of that, I think it's just cool to have them out there. The rule changes, some I like, some I don't like. I think the universal DH is going to stay forever. I don't think anybody wants to watch pitchers hit anymore. I don't know about you.
Man, what? Right? Like, that's as simple as that. I always talk about that with like the NHL rule changes, and I'm not even a hockey dude. When they flipped that and it was so much more offense, that's what people want to see, man. It's simple.
Yeah, and I think it's great. I think the problem with baseball and the problem they've had for years is they just didn't want to change their ways. And now, you get a pandemic to have a lot of changes, and they're kind of just flying by the seat of their pants. Like, they changed the 7-inning doubleheader thing last night during NBA games. So we'll see what that looks like.
So look, this is the thing, right? So I get that it's a pandemic, and I get that stuff is changing every day, games getting canceled, stuff getting delayed. It seems a little too like some cats sitting in a room like, yeah, let's just make it 7-inning doubleheaders. Like, put the press release out on that. It seems a little too loosey-goosey for me for this stuff to be going in the record books, for championships to be on the line, stuff like that. It's just like a little more structure and this type of stuff from the early onset would have been a lot more helpful for me.
Yeah, I think Major League Baseball has had a problem with being more reactive than proactive. And I think that they kind of just they had so much time to plan all this out. I think that them putting together double headers for 7 innings is just a cop-out because they didn't think people were going to test positive as much as they have. So in the effort to not have these guys sitting in clubhouses for 12 hours at a time, they're like, well, let's just cut it down to 7 innings. And in the past, they had talked about 7 innings, for the whole game, for all the games, because the games are so long. And they were like, no, there's no way. And sure enough, it's just like these players are, I'm sure you saw Rizzo was on Twitter yesterday during their rain delay and was like, we can't be sitting in here for 8 hours and we got to travel. Like, so they really are sitting in a room and being like, all right, we got to do something different because this season is just so different.
I think this not sitting in the clubhouse for a rain delay. I'm with it, bro. Look, if you look at the radar and it's supposed to rain all night, don't even. I'm with not even running us out there in the first place. Don't just cancel that shit and let us leave immediately. Especially if you want us to play every single day, for 60 days in a row. You're looking at the radar. It's going to rain. And if it's not going to rain, then I guess the 75, 80% chance of it raining, if we missed the 20%, then we gotta keep it moving. Get us back to Chicago. We got a game against Pittsburgh tonight. Let us get out of here, man. We can't be sitting around waiting for it to rain when every sign says it's going to rain.
Yeah, and I'm a big believer in that same train of thought. I played baseball in college, and the worst thing was sitting in the dugout. We didn't even have a clubhouse. We just sit in the dugout and watch it rain.
Right.
And we're just like waiting. And these guys have all the technology, weather radar, all that. Like, just pop it and do another, play a doubleheader the next time they come to town. But the problem is, like, we only have 2 trips to Cincinnati, I think, this year. And like the Cardinals, they come here for 7 games and we only play there for 3. So the schedule's all out of whack, and they're probably just trying to get every game in, as much as they can. But there's no use in sitting in the dugout, especially on a travel day. Like, nah, get out of there.
Right. Let me ask you this real quick. Would you rather them push the playoffs back a little bit or them play more doubleheaders? You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because also you're going to have teams like apparently the Marlins are just going to be playing doubleheaders all day, right? Like, it's going to be they're going to play 3 doubleheaders a week. So would you rather them? It seems a little unfair to ask a lot of different teams to be playing doubleheaders all the time, and then when some teams are clean and not testing positive, then they're good to go.
Yeah, I think what they could do is, the 7-inning doubleheaders is going to help because it's not going to be as much strain on these guys. Like, the pitchers won't have, you won't have to burn a full bullpen in one day. I think that they could benefit from pushing the playoffs back, because once you get to the playoffs, I feel like you need at least 1 week, maybe 2, to get everybody's tests in order and then just put everybody in one place. Like, I know it's 16 teams. We should have had a bubble, I think, for MLB anyway, because there's so many complexes,
Arizona,
wherever you want. Arizona, you could play and keep these guys close to the fields. But,
it's just so many people. But, yeah, I feel you.
The worst case scenario is we get to the LCS, rounds, and 4 people on the Cubs test positive because they're traveling back and forth from LA. And that would be a huge hit for MLB, because nobody wants to watch the playoffs and have the best players out. So I think that's probably the best way to handle it, in my opinion. I don't know what they're going to do, because I feel like they're just every day they're flipping a coin and saying, here, we'll just try this.
Right. Absolutely. So we got to stay locked. Let's talk about some more positive stuff. Let's talk about the quality of the ball. I'm going to tell you this. I've been locked in on the Cubs and the White Sox for the most part. I've been locked in partly because I've been wagering. That's been helping.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just live sports, right? And like hoops is back now, so that's going to get a lot of my attention as well. But the quality of the ball has been great. If you're sitting there on the couch just relaxing, until a foul ball goes in the stands, I don't seem too pressed. It doesn't seem very different to me. What are your thoughts on the quality and how, it's being televised and how they're going about it?
I think it's pretty cool, man. Like, I played the majority of my games in front of nobody, and so have most of these players. Like, not everybody went to Texas A&M and LSU where they had sellout crowds every night. So The only difference, I listened to Ian Happ's podcast, and he was saying, like, I just need a little bit of buzz, because we're used to hearing just like that all time like murmur of the crowd. Right. So they're piping in the crowd noise, and I think it's not overwhelming for us from a viewer's perspective, but it also helps them not feel like they're playing in a library. So I think what they've done from like a presentation standpoint has been great. We get alternate camera angles. They got more cameras all over the ballpark. Marquise specifically with Taylor McGregor, she kind of just bounces around the whole stadium and brings you kind of like a unique perspective. Like, once she was standing behind Christian Yelich and was like saying, talking about how he was MVP or whatever. And, I'm sure that Yelich could hear her because he was standing 20 feet in front of her. So it's unique to see how they're doing it. And it hasn't affected how I like to watch baseball at all. So I think they've done a hell of a job.
Let's move over to the Chicago Cubs. We know you the utility man. my man does everything when it comes to Chicago Cubs. He's doing on-air social. He's also a massive fan in general. So let's talk about these Cubs. Look, strong start. Let's just keep it like that. I mean, that's all we can say about it. Give me some thoughts on the pitching. It's more of the same.
Yeah.
It looks like an identical situation to me as it was to last year. But give me your thoughts on the pitching, the bats, confident going forward. Hendricks at home is Hendricks at home.
Right.
Hendricks on the road seems to be Hendricks on the road. Yu Darvish shows us his colors pretty early. How you feeling about the Cubs and the start?
I feel great, man. If you'd have asked me 2 weeks ago, if you would have said 2 weeks ago they're going to start 4-2 and be in first place, I would have 100% taken that. You know, playing the Brewers right out the gate, definitely not a punk. They're a good team. They had one of the best players in the league who's scuffling, and we might have been lucky in that. You know, he's going to find his way, but you know, I'm not scared when Hendricks takes the bump. We're never going to be out of the game, especially at home. And I think everybody knows that he's our guy. Darvish has a ton of pitches. I think he would benefit from kind of honing in on a few and mixing in those extra pitches a little bit, because there's a lot of stuff he's trying to execute in one game. And I think that's sometimes why he gets hurt. But, you know, he's well paid, and he's one of the best. You know, his stretch in the end of the year last year was really good.
That's how you go put it, well paid. That's how you go put it.
Yeah, man. I don't talk about people's pockets, man.
Yeah. He's well paid. Ain't no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Ain't no doubt about that.
And I think, you know, he has a lot of stuff that he's still working through as a pitcher. But I don't worry much when he's in the game either. You know, his MO is he'll give up a couple home runs here and there because he's really trying to execute what his game plan is. And sometimes that is throwing up in the zone. Sometimes that is coming inside where a lot of guys would go out. So I'm not too worried about the pitching, the starting pitching, the bullpen. There's a lot of stuff going on in there. I think they're just, you know, David Ross said he wants guys to show them he can trust them. And, you know, we'll see. I think that there's a lot of things they have to work through on the back end, because we're paying a lot for people who are not performing the way that they're being paid. Yeah, exactly.
That's it. 100%.
But to me, it's like I don't jump off the cliff, because it is early. This has been a weird year, and we've seen a lot of the same. But they've got some time to figure it out. I think that the 60-game season spooks people, because everyone's like, well, it's 60 games in 66 days. Like, if you treat every game like it's a full season, that's a long season. You know what I'm saying? So I think
that's just Cubs fans in general.
Yeah,
every game is live or die, it seems like, and it doesn't need to be like that, but that's what it is.
Yeah, so, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm confident. I knew before the season that they were going to be there, and now with the expanded playoffs, it's, you know, almost everybody's getting in. So there's no picture you can paint of the playoffs that I don't have the Cubs in. Like, there's no way.
Right. To push it back to Yu Darvish and Hendricks, for me, Hendricks, they're like polar opposites in my eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hendricks mentally is insane.
Mm-hmm.
He's very confident, very cool. He goes out there, and like you said, he's throwing what's effective for him. He's throwing tons of changeups. Then his fastball looks like it comes in at 101 because the changeup is that filthy, right? And he's just out there, cool, confident, focuses on the things he's best at. Yu Darvish has all the stuff, maybe too much stuff, but mentally he's just a little erratic. He's not as confident. If you could flip those boys, if you could give Hendricks Yu Darvish's stuff, and like he kept that mental edge, man, we're talking like insane. And like like one of the best pitchers in baseball, right? Not that he's not already, but I'm talking like an elite talent. So it's the big thing for me about baseball, especially, is I love to watch how people work and how they go about things, their body language and their details. And those dudes are polar opposites. So it's interesting. Yu Darvish goes tonight. He got pushed back. I was low-key pissed off that he didn't get an opportunity to go on the road, because seems like he's just more relaxed on the road. Lets shit roll off of him. I don't know if it's the pinstripes. I don't know what it is, but he seems to just be more relaxed at home on the road, and he does his thing. I think kind of that attitude that I was talking about, the body language is a perfect segue into one of the last things we'll talk about. Is it seems like the boys are loving playing together. The dugout is lit. Everybody's lit. Everybody's giving daps. Everybody's positive. Everybody's sitting up on the rail. Social distancing is not really being followed with the Cubs because they're right next to each other. They might be masked up, but they're showing love to their fellow folks. Is that Ross rubbing off early? Is it just the boys knowing each other? Well, give me your take on that. What do you think?
I think David Ross has made such a positive influence on these guys. Just familiarity is huge, especially in a 60-game season. Like, they don't have to feel him out. They know who he is. They're just learning his management style. So what I've heard about Rossi is he's going to tell you like it is. And when we first hired him, people were like, well, he's soft and he's Grandpa Rossi. Is like, people forget, like, he played for almost 20 years and he caught some of the best pitchers in baseball. He got plenty of rings, plenty of pedigree. And, catchers are, I think, the best segue into managers because they manage games on a daily basis. So I could tell the difference, man. I think that there's a bunch of guys who have a chip on their shoulder who, there's been a lot of chatter that the Cubs were a one-hit wonder, and these guys have a lot of pride. So instead of taking it easy and sitting back and earning their cash this year, they're like, why don't we just go full board? Let's chant, let's cheer, let's get hype in the dugout, make the game fun. Just like we would do when we played in high school, right. Cheering on your homies. And, once you get a dub, everybody's happy. So I love it, man. I heard them clapping and singing Rizzo's walk-up song in Cincinnati. I couldn't even hear Lennon JD. Right. It's like these guys are having so much fun. And I think that it all just comes back to the idea that for a while, a lot of people didn't think that they were going to play. Even then, there was so much uncertainty. So I think they're just like, hey, we got a chance to play. If they're handing out a trophy, we want it. Why not go full board? That's awesome.
Simple as that, bro. If they handed it out, I want it, man.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. If pass it.
And nobody's going to be like, oh, well, the Cubs won the shortened season World Series. Like, who cares, bro? It's a season. You got to play hard. You got to be there in the end. And if you're there in the end and you happen to be the team that wins it, that's yours.
Passing it out, I want it. That's it. You got 60 games. I got 60 games. Everybody else got 60. Right. Well,
Maybe.
Literally low key, the Marlins might play 35 games and they just might just be like, look, we're not even scheduling your shit no more. Don't worry about it. Like, simple as that. Don't worry about it. We're going to go ahead, black y'all out, and that's it.
They might have a tryout like Invincible. They're going to need to pull some guys up.
Man, do something, bro. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but hopefully everything stays the course for the MLB. And for the Cubs, I think it's a reminder, like you said, they got a chip. We're still loaded with tons of talent. People forget that. This is just because they've been on a squad for a while does not change that boys are loaded with talent. We got Pittsburgh coming tonight. The division, I mean, it's early, obviously, but there was a lot of talk about the Reds being a juggernaut, and we've been hanging tough with them. So, I'm looking forward to the rest of the year. Yo, we're going to have you on talking Cubs consistently.
I'm ready, man. I'm glad you sent the note and invited me out. I've been wanting to do this for a while, man. I love what you're doing with No Ketchup, and just keep going, man. It's awesome.
I appreciate it, my boy. Mike Bolling, social media producer, Stadium. Thanks for coming on, my guy.
You got it.